You know, I was watching the Today Show this morning, and I remember hearkening back to a story locally down here about D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who had recently adopted a little baby girl. And I remember they had been talking about it for the last couple months or so, and they finally actually did an interview with her on the Today Show with Holy Copy, who also adopted a child. Now, this is the reason I'm going to talk about it. Because they have one thing in common, why they are adopting children without a husband. This is DJ Wolf Live. All right, guys. I was thinking when I saw this program on Today's Show. Now, aside the fact that, of course, they are encouraging single mothers to be single mothers, it was also endearing that I saw a very prominent, successful figure like Muriel Bowser with her doting adoptive baby girl. Now, although I admired the love and care that she was giving the baby during this interview, I also thought about this. You're also encouraging more and more women to remain single. I'm sorry. It's a narrative that I don't exactly agree with. Now, you can be single if you want to, but to be a single parent, that's the encouragement that I have a problem with. You know, we got too many as it is. Now, what's surprising to me is Mayor Bowser. Like I said, you do what you want, but knowing that you are running a city where you know I have a high crime rate, and the crime rate of many of the crimes that happen in the city are done by predominantly fatherless children. Let's be real. That's a fact. Okay? And I don't want to hear about, but white people do crimes too. But white people are single parents too. I ain't talking about them. Let's focus on y'all. On us. Okay? Let's be real about that. That's why I call this channel For All to Hear. Because we need to be honest about ourselves. Now, the thing is that I understand if you actually have the means and ways to do that, to be a single parent and not to have to struggle to take care of your kids, whether they're adoptive or not, I commend it. If you don't have to go through all that. But to, to me, in a way, you kind of are encouraging women to do this. More and more women to do that. Because she said herself that Hoda Copy inspired her to do what she did. And Hoda Copy said Sandra Bullock inspired her to do what she did. So think about who they're inspiring outside of themselves. You know. And I used to watch Maury, which I still watch from time to time. And I'm sure Maury Povich is probably a multi-millionaire behind this show with the baby mama dramas all the time. His show, he's had several shows on, look him up, where they had girls as young as 11, 12, 13 years old talking about wanting to have babies. That baby's so cuddly and cute. I want me a baby. And some of the mothers really were just so passive. Well, she always talking about having a kid, and I am really. To me, it's a lack of morals anymore, man. That kids want to have kids, and they don't have the understanding that they need to be getting from their parents about why you shouldn't have kids young. But it's even just as bad, in some cases worse, when you got a prominent figure like Muriel Bowser kind of inspiring more women to stay single and have kids on their own. Yeah, that really helps when you got a one-parent option here. You know, and it's, to me, it's in a way, it's kind of selfish. To me personally, I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. I think it's kind of selfish when you are denying that child the opportunity to have both parents. Now, I ain't talking about just any parents, but I'm saying both parents, a mother and a father. Okay? But sometimes it's also the choices that you as a female make as well. I tried to tell somebody that one time. Of course, they didn't want to hear that. Well, it's the man's fault if they don't make the right choice. Yeah, that's true. But, and yeah, there's a but in it. But, and I'm going to say but again. But, the woman sort of has the last say so. And I'm going to say why they have the, really no say no bitch? I'm going to say why they have the last say so. Because that woman can always have the option to say, well, I don't want the baby. No, again, I try to tell somebody that, and they're like, well, the man has to say so on it. No, they don't. No, they don't. Even if they were married, technically they wouldn't have to say so. You will both have to come to the agreement. You know? Me, myself, if it wasn't the fact that I didn't want my son to end up like a bunch of other kids where they weren't unwanted by the parents and they ended up aborting them. I didn't want that. I didn't. You know? But I made a vow to myself that I was going to be the best father I could be and always be there for whatever he needed. And I was going to make every effort to make sure that happened. You know? The problem is you got too many daggone people encouraging single women to have kids on a wedlock, whether they're adopted or not. And I said that's where I draw the line. I don't, you know, to me I don't agree with the nerve. But everybody thinks, oh, it's so trendy to have kids by yourself like you're having pets. Because that's the way I kind of see it anymore. I mean, I'm not saying that I look at kids that way. But I'm saying I think many women do look at kids like that when you're single. And it's more of a commodity and not what they call that's another name for it. Not a commodity, but a legacy. You know, they don't look at women out here that don't look at the kids as legacy. They look at them as commodity. Really? That's one of the issues I got right there. And this is why I have a problem with single mamas. I don't hate single mamas necessarily. I don't. I just don't like the fact that you won't give your child the option to be able to have a father because you made choices that you decided at one point you couldn't deal with that person that you made the bad choice with. What we doing here? Come on, you had the option to go ahead and go. What the hell you waiting on? Nothing sitting there to block you. She said for 2 minutes, we gonna wait till the light go back to red again? You can turn on there. That's where you're supposed to be going 35 miles an hour, not 50. These people. But, you know, I like I said, again, it's my opinion, and it's the way I see it. I know others have opinions on it, and I know likely they will. But that's the way I see things anymore. It's like, really, the sanctity of marriage for a lot of people in this day and age is dead. It doesn't matter to people anymore. It don't. Why else would you have the mayor of one of the most important cities in the country, if not in the world, make a statement about single mothers and practically encouraging it? Because they are. It's being encouraged and encouraged. Oh boy, the bus had to come out in the middle of nowhere right about now. It's being encouraged. They encourage it. And I'm like, I ain't on the fence. I'm like totally against it. For reasons why we have the situation we do now. And that's what's surprising to me about this. No one believes in the tradition of marriage anymore. I mean, okay, it's one thing if you go out there and do your thing or whatever, and y'all decide, okay, we're going to try to work things out before we do that. I'm going to tell you a story right quick. My wife and I, we dated for 2 years before we even thought about having kids. Okay? This is absolute fact. 2 years. That's the minimum. Okay? But before you even consider having children, you gotta date. You gotta get to know that person. People don't even believe in the art of dating anymore. It's all about the hookup, getting your fuck on. Excuse my French. It's all about that and nothing else. Everybody wants to get the sex hookup. It's not even about dating anymore. You got kids out here today that they're discouraged from even talking to people on the phone anymore. They text. I had to get on my son one time. So, what are you texting for? Make the call to the girl. Get to know the chick, man. No, I'm going to text so I can get the hookup. Really? This is the problem with the generation today. It's all about the hookup. I know somebody will say, well, I bet it was like that your day. Well, honestly, it was like that my day. But guess what I wasn't talking about? Making babies. And guess what I was doing when I was out there getting the hookup? Using protection. Because I know there's a lot of young guys, oh, I don't like that, man. I don't like the thing anymore. It's like, oh, somebody grab it. Hey, you know what? It saved my ass from making mistakes. I can tell you right up front. It saved my ass from making big mistakes. It really did. One thing I didn't want to do, make mistakes. And I don't mean by children. I'm talking about just going out there just willy-nilly mess with the wrong type of woman, and I couldn't go there. I couldn't go there. Me personally, I could not go there. But the responsibilities, when you have sexual partners, relies on both the men and the women. If the women ain't taking the birth control pill, they aren't any more concerned about it than the guy is. They could care less. They're just as irresponsible. I try to tell people that. Nah. If the man gets the woman pregnant, he is responsible. You're right, it is, but it's hers too. If she is going to allow this guy to get her pregnant without really thinking about the type of guy she got to deal with, every time she look at the baby face, every time she got to deal with the baby, she got to deal with the baby daddy, and wondering if he's going to be the type of guy that's going to help her take care of that kid or not. This is why you really got to make wise choices out here, and this is what I'm talking about. But to sit there and encourage women and say, oh, well, we'll just die. I won't, that's another thing. I have a problem with that too, but then you're encouraging single parent households. I'm sorry. And I do like Muriel Bowser. I respect it, but I was like, I don't respect that. I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. I have a problem with that. You know how it is. The single mother and motherless fatherless child rate is alarming in this country, let alone in D.C. You know, only thing you're doing, you're encouraging it. But I know the demographic that she's trying to encourage. But to me, I just can't go with the nerve. I understand you wanted a baby and all that, and you didn't traditionally want a baby the way you wanted a baby. But I also understand that she actually has the means to take care of a child. You know, and I think she probably should have gave it a little bit more clarity in the interview. I saw the entire interview. I think she should have gave it a little bit more clarity. But I think she didn't want to alienate anybody, but she didn't want to offend anybody, because I know the real deal was, in her case, she really was referring to professional women, not just no women that they ain't working, they ain't got no real job and working at a McDonald's some damn where, flipping burgers, and talking about I'm trying to take care of my kids with this 5 and dime money. You know, that kind of job you can't take no kids with. You can't. You know. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to party and bullshit and then forget about responsibilities until the oops come along, you know? That's part of the problem. But I think Muriel Bowser should have actually kind of been a little bit more forefront about the type of women who should be adopting kids or should be single mothers to children. But she didn't really want to allude to that. But I know what she, the whole segment was not about just any single mother. So I already know that. You know, business-minded, professional women. That part I get. But on the other hand, it should be just narrowed down to that and nothing else. That's the only issue I had with that. Because you're gonna have some single mom out going, like, if she can do it and raise a kid, I can do the same thing. No, you can't do the same thing. You're not the mayor of Washington, D.C. You're not a noted NBC broadcaster, and you're not a well-known actress. So no, you can't do any of the three. No. Unless you're one of them three, and even for a little lesser known, somebody who makes a decent salary, I wouldn't chance it. What I'll say is this: think about the choices you make before you go there. I'm gonna say it again, and that goes for guys and girls. Think about the choices you make and the things you do before you go there, particularly when it comes to getting sex. Think about the choices to make and the things that you plan on or do. That just think about where you gotta go when you go there. From that point, really seriously think about it. That's something a lot of people don't do. You have to, man. And one other thing, and they definitely need to bring it back into schools. Two things that should be taught in schools: sex education and abstinence. They don't teach enough of both. Hell, churches don't even talk about it, really. There's some subjects that churches will completely be taboo about talking. And I noticed that. They won't talk about the sanctity of marriage. That's rarely talked about. They won't talk about the ills of being a single parent, and they won't talk about abstinence among young people. Those are three topics they will not talk about. Will they encourage single mothers? Yeah. Will they talk about Mother's Day until the cows come home? You damn right they will. Will they encourage Mother's Day? Yeah, they sure will. Will they uplift fathers? No, they will not. I have seen it. I've rarely seen it. Matter of fact, almost never. Father's Day is just an afterthought. That's another whole story. But I think I'm done. The only thing I gotta say is, man, we need to stop encouraging single mothers, particularly young single mothers. Anytime you got grandmothers out here in their 30s, grandmothers at 30 years old, I've seen that. 30-year-old grandmothers. Some may be younger than that. You know, God forbid. This is DJ Wolf. I had to say what was on my mind, give you a little something to chew on, because I'm tired of chewing. Let somebody else do the chewing and think about what I'm saying. You know, real talk. It's really not a funny subject, but it's funny to me that people, what some YouTuber said in a podcast I saw him say in their thing was titled "Wash, Rinse, Repeat." It's the same cycle we process our generations through all the time. Wash, rinse, and repeat. No one ever learns to just wash and rinse and move on. I'm out.